Hello and welcome to the third week of this MOOC. This week we're going to focus on encoding critical editions. So to begin with, I propose a little exercise, a little module to get to know better what a critical edition is and to understand to read a critical edition. So let's start with a little example. Let's say that in free manuscripts, we have free manuscripts for a text, and they have, for the same part of the text, a little difference in their versions. For instance, we have in one manuscript, ut dum spiritus reficitur dolores corporis leniantur, which means more or less so that while the spirit is restored, the pains of the body are soothed. We have this text, which makes perfect sense in manuscript A and manuscript C, right? But in manuscript B, instead of leniantur, we have the word laniantur, which means to lacerate or to be lacerated. So in manuscript B, the sentence does not make any sense in Latin. So we can think that the scribe who copied manuscript B made a mistake, copying leniantur, and he wrote laniantur instead. So what can we do with this information? Well, the job of the editor will be to read the proper text, but not without discarding the evidence of other mistakes or errors or variants in different manuscripts. So you must give the proper text to read and at the same time record the variants and errors in other manuscripts. So this is how the critical edition could look for the little example we've just seen. In the main text, you would have the sentence that makes sense, the good sentence, and you would have a footnote attached to the word leniantur and saying that leniantur has been written laniantur in manuscript B. Here you have the form that the footnote would take in a traditional printed critical edition. A lot of conventions are present in traditional critical edition. It's not the place to go over them all, but most of you would know that already, by the way. But just to remind you that, usually you have what is called the lemma, that is the right version of the text that is present in the main text, which is recalled at the beginning of the footnote. Here, so leniantur. Then you have some kind of separator. Here it's a square bracket. And then you have the variant or erratic reading found in one or other manuscripts. Here it is laniantur, the rejected reading. And then you have the siglum of the witness where this reading is found. So here it is B. Let's see another example. Here, for instance, instead of changing the spelling of one word, manuscript B has what is called an omission. That is, the word dolores has been omitted in manuscript B. So how would we encode that? Or how would we represent that for the time being without considering the encoding in TI? So in a traditional edition, you would write this as follows. Same text in the main page, and you would have a footnote just where the word dolores is, indicating that the lemma dolores has been omitted with some kind of abbreviation for omitted or full text omitted or whatever in manuscript B. And note that part of the conventions, traditional conventions of critical editions, mean that everything that's not from a witness, from a manuscript, is in italics. So or omission, omitted, whatever, is not from a manuscript. It's an editorial note. So it is written in italics. Another example, let's see what we do when we have an addition. That is, a manuscript adds something. So, for instance, here manuscript B has a difference in the sentence. It adds et mentis and of the mind just after corporis. So, in a traditional print edition, you would do that. Same sentence in the main text. A footnote just after corporis. And you would have the mention et mentis, the rejected reading, add or added it, or addition, or whatever you use in your edition. That is an editorial explanation of what happens, and the siglum of the manuscript. Again, note that add is in italics here by convention. So, I propose you to take a look at this real-life example of a critical edition. You can download the page just right here. And I offer you a little exercise. I ask you this question. Could you tell me what are the first 3 lines of this text in the manuscript G? Can you take a look at the edition and reconstruct from the edition the text of the witness G, just from that, given what we've seen just before? So, in manuscript G, this would be the text found in the real actual manuscript. So you can see that there are some differences with the text proposed by the editor. Most notably, alios proposed in the main text is replaced with ad in manuscript G. Capítulo quinto, that is the chapter number of the biblical reference, is omitted in manuscript G. And also, at the beginning of this biblical reference, sufferentiam is replaced with sufficientiam in manuscript G. So that's 3 differences at the beginning of the text between manuscript G and the main text of the edition.